I used to think I had the perfect wife. A woman with a ferocious ambition that I, in my naivety, mistook for drive. Her name is Tessa, and her career was her entire world. So much so that, mere weeks after giving birth to our son, she was desperate to get back online, to perform for her top donor, her biggest fan. She showered me with gifts, proof of her success. The latest was a sleek, branded razor, a complimentary item that came with a pair of $1,000 Balenciaga boxer briefs she'd clearly bought for someone else. She claimed to love me so much she couldn't bear to be without me. In reality, her love was a gilded cage, and I was the fool she'd locked inside to play the part of a husband. But a debt is a debt, and for everything she gave me, I made sure to return the favor. I gifted her a pair of silver bracelets, courtesy of the city police department, and found her a new home with lifelong room and board. It began on a Tuesday. I came home from my job as a mall manager to a silent house. The baby's cradle in the living room was empty. A knot of pure dread tightened in my stomach as I pushed open the bedroom door. The sight that greeted me was a grotesque performance. Tessa, dressed in little more than scraps of lace, was writhing in front of her phone's camera, her body moving in a parody of seduction. "Oh, my knight," she cooed, her voice a saccharine purr I'd never heard her use with me. She pouted her crimson lips, a flicker of her tongue, tracing the outline. "They're being so mean to your kitten. You have to protect me. Send a few more rockets. Baby, show them who owns this room." She bent low, offering the camera an exaggerated view of her cleavage, her hand stroking her own thigh. "Look at them, laughing at me. Are you going to let them do that to your girl?" A hot, white anger flared in my chest. "Tessa, where's Leo?" She jumped, startled, her face contorting from faux seductress to enraged harpy. She slammed her hand down on her phone, ending the stream. "I told you never to come in when I'm live," she shrieked. "Do you have any idea the mess you just made?" I ignored her rage, my own panic overriding everything. "Where's our son? The nanny texted me an hour ago saying she had an emergency, but that Leo was asleep in his cradle. He's not there." Tessa jabbed a finger toward our bed. "He's on the bed, obviously. Did you think he'd just vanished? God, you're so melodramatic." I followed her pointed finger to a suspicious lump under the thick duvet. I rushed over and threw back the covers. There was Leo, his tiny face scrunched in a troubled sleep, his breathing shallow. He was completely buried. "What were you thinking?" I yelled, my voice cracking as I gently scooped him into my arms. "He could have suffocated. Why is he sleeping so deeply? Has he been like this the whole time?" The concern in my voice only seemed to fuel her irritation. "He wouldn't stop crying," she snapped, not even bothering to look at him. "I gave him a few drops of infant sleep aid. He'll be out for a while longer." I stared at her, horrified. "What? He's 3 months old, Tessa. You can't drug him just because he's crying. He's your son." "Oh, stop being so dramatic," she scoffed, waving a dismissive hand. "It was a tiny amount. It's not a big deal. Now get out. Thanks to you, I have to go back and do damage control with my subscribers." Seeing her cold indifference, something inside me finally broke. "Your subscribers? Is that all you care about? Flaunting yourself for strangers on a screen? It's been 3 months since you gave birth, and this is what you're desperate to get back to." Before we were married, I had gently suggested she quit streaming. I'd seen the way men commented on her videos, the thinly veiled vulgarity of it all. It made my stomach turn. I wanted her to rest, to recover, to be a mother. I wanted to be a family. Her face twisted in contempt. "You're a nobody, Jacob," she spat, her words like acid. "You clock in, you clock out, you bring home your pathetic little salary, and you think that's a life. You have no idea what it takes to build a real career." My eyes welled up. "A career? This is a career? You told me you hated it. You said you hated faking smiles for tips, and that all you wanted was a quiet, happy life with me." "A happy life with you?" She laughed, a cold, ugly sound. Her gaze swept over me, and for the first time, I saw what she truly thought of me. I wasn't her husband. I was an inconvenience, a piece of garbage in her way. She shoved me forcefully toward the door. I clutched Leo tighter, stumbling backward to protect him. I wasn't even fully out of the room when she slammed the door shut, the edge catching my shoulder with a painful thud. Leaning against the wall, the pain in my shoulder a dull echo of the agony in my heart, I tried to understand. How had the sweet, gentle woman I'd married turned into this monster? I remembered my birthday last year, the happiest day of my life. She had stood in a field of flowers, her smile so genuine it hurt to look at. "Marry me, Jacob," she'd whispered. "Let me be yours forever." That night, we made love, and soon after, she was pregnant with what I believed was the symbol of our love. We married, and I brought her into my home, vowing to take care of her, too. Give her everything. The first few months were beautiful, peaceful. But after Leo was born, the arguments began. She was obsessed with returning to her live streaming, deaf to my pleas. Leo, awakened by the fight, began to wail in my arms. I rocked him gently, pacing the hallway, my heart aching with a relief so profound it felt like grief. The sleeping drops hadn't harmed him. Walking past the dining table, I saw the dinner I'd picked up on the way home, still untouched. A part of me, the part that still foolishly loved her, worried she was hungry. I'm her husband, I thought. I should be the bigger person. We need to talk this out. I knocked on the bedroom door. Tessa, come out and eat something. Silence. But a few minutes later, the door swung open. She had changed into a tight, glittering dress that left little to the imagination, her makeup now heavier, more dramatic. She was speaking into her phone. Don't you worry, Knight. I'm on my way. I'll be there soon. I grabbed her arm. Where are you going? The live stream isn't enough? Now you have to go meet these sleazebags in person? Her eyes blazed. He is not a sleazebag. He's my top supporter. Without him hyping up my channel, I wouldn't be making any real money. Why do you need so much money? Isn't what I make enough for us? I was working relentlessly, taking every overtime shift, pushing for promotions, all for her. I gave her my entire salary each month. She wasn't hurting for money. She sneered and yanked her arm from my grasp. The company just gave me a $2,000 raise, I said, a desperate last attempt. She scoffed. 2,000? Please. On a good day, I make more than that before lunch. I'm just going out for dinner with him. It's business. Stop being so possessive. With a flick of her hair, she turned and walked out, the click of her stilettos on the floor like nails in my coffin. By the time I'd soothed a crying Leo and run outside, she was gone. My calls went straight to voicemail. She finally returned after midnight. I was waiting on the sofa, the house dark around me. She breezed in, a fake, cheerful smile plastered on her face. Oh, look at that thunderous expression. It was just dinner, silly. It's part of the job. Don't be mad. Look, I even brought you a present. I held my anger in check. Can you please stop this job? She draped herself over me, her voice syrupy sweet. But it's such easy money, baby. I just dance a little, I smile, and people pay me. I'm doing it for us. To take the pressure off you. She saw the look on my face and softened her approach. Okay. I promise. No more meeting fans in person. I'll just stick to the live streams. A girl's gotta have her own career, right? My love for her was a sickness, a weakness. I relented. I took the small, elegantly wrapped box she offered. But when I opened it, my blood ran cold. It's Balenciaga, she boasted, preening. See how good I am to you? Only the best for my man. I was a mall manager. I spent my weeks inspecting every high-end boutique in the building. I knew their stock better than my own closet. I instantly recognized the razor. It was the free, not-for-sale promotional gift that came with the purchase of their newest, ridiculously expensive line of men's underwear. I remembered seeing the display just last week, noting the price with a silent whistle. The razor sat right beside the boxers, with a small, clear sign, promotional item, not for sale. Seeing my silence, Tessa pouted. You don't like it? It's Balenciaga. No, I love it. I stammered, my mind racing. I didn't know they sold razors. Of course they do, she said with an air of superiority. This is a major brand, Jacob. I had a friend source it for me. It was incredibly expensive. See, if I didn't have my streaming income, I could never afford to buy you such nice things. I forced a smile. She bought the lie, turned, and went into the bedroom to get ready for bed. The moment she was gone, I pulled out my phone and texted my lead sales associate at the Balenciaga store. Hey, Chun. Sorry to bother you so late. Quick question about the new men's underwear line. Are you selling the promotional razor separately? Her reply was almost instant. Manager Joe. No, sir. Absolutely not. It's strictly a gift with purchase. The world tilted on its axis. A horrifying thought crystallized in my mind, sharp and cold as ice. She hadn't bought it for me. She had bought the underwear for him, and then, as an afterthought, had brought home the freebie for her fool of a husband. The rage was a physical thing, a roaring in my ears, a pressure building behind my eyes. I clenched my jaw, fighting to stay calm, to think. Maybe it's a coincidence, a desperate voice whispered. Maybe a friend gave it to her. But I knew. I had to be certain. The next day, I told her the company was sending me on a last-minute business trip for a week. The undisguised joy on her face was another knife in my gut. For the first time ever, she was the dutiful wife, bustling around, packing my suitcase with an almost manic enthusiasm. She had no idea that the night before, fueled by a toxic cocktail of grief and fury, I had ordered a set of micro cameras. Before I left for the airport, I had installed them in the bedroom and, with a sleight of hand, slipped one into the lining of her favorite purse. In a sterile hotel room across town, I opened my laptop. The live feed flickered to life, and the scene that unfolded made me want to vomit. Tessa was lying on our bed, completely naked, complaining to her phone. "Are you going to come see me or not?" A deep, masculine voice, smooth and confident, replied from the phone's speaker. "I'm in Los Angeles closing a deal, sweetheart. I can't get back for a few days." "But Jacob is finally gone," she whined. "This was our chance to be together all day, every day. Can't you come back for me? Or have you found some other girl out there?" The man chuckled. "You know my heart belongs to you." "If it did," she retorted, her voice hardening, "you wouldn't have forced me to marry that idiot as a cover-up because you were too scared of your wife finding out about us." The man, Marcus, laughed again, a sound dripping with condescending amusement. "What's so bad about it? The man's a fool, utterly devoted to you. Why waste free labor?" And there it was. A tool. That's all I had ever been. The pain was so immense it became a strange, cold numbness. My heart, which had been methodically shattered, simply ceased to feel. I took a few days off from work and drove to a small town by the coast, needing the ocean to swallow my rage. At a lonely seaside diner, I remembered the day I met Tessa. I was stuck at an airport, my flight delayed for hours. I was frustrated, angry, and then she sat down next to me, a bubbly, energetic girl with a selfie stick, live streaming to an audience of 2 people. Her passion was infectious. She was a little sun, chasing away my gloom. She told me she was going to make it big, to prove all her doubters wrong. I was captivated by the fire in her eyes. I started watching her streams, sending her tips, encouraging her. She would message me every day to say thank you. Soon, she was visiting me, and a few months later, she confessed she had fallen for me. She was the first woman to ever say she loved me. How could I say no? After we became a couple, she told me to stop watching her streams and tipping. "If you want to give me money, just send it directly," she'd said. "That way the platform doesn't take a cut. We have to save for our future." I was so moved, so certain of her love, that I worked myself to the bone, wanting to give her the world. My love was worthless. My heart was a toy she had casually, cruelly broken. Sitting there in that diner, the smell of salt and grease in the air, I made a call. The woman on the other end of the line listened to my story, watched the video clips I sent her, and her icy composure shattered into a million pieces of fury. The next day, Tessa called me, her voice a venomous shriek. "Jacob, you son of a bitch. How dare you? What did you tell that old hag? You do the crime. You can't be surprised when you do the time," I said, my voice flat and dead. "Did you really think Eleanor Thorne wouldn't find out about her husband's affair?" I had a background in computer science. Before leaving the house, I'd installed a backdoor on her phone. During her video call with Marcus, I had captured all his contact information. A private investigator, handsomely paid, had procured his wife's private number within hours. Tessa let out a cold laugh. "You think you've won? You've ruined my life, so I'll ruin yours. I'm taking the boy today, and you'll never see him again. The deed to the house is in my name. I'll sell it and leave you homeless on the street like the beggar you are." She hung up. I was shaking so hard I thought my teeth would crack. The phone rang again. It was Eleanor. "That whore your wife is truly something else," she seethed. "She just demanded $20 million from Marcus as a parting fee. I hate her, but for the sake of my family, for my children, I might just have to pay it." The thought of Tessa, not only unremorseful but ready to run away with all my assets and my son, solidified my resolve. "Mrs. Thorne," I said slowly and clearly, "you're aware that blackmail is a serious crime, aren't you? Just make sure you have proof. The people you hate have a way of ending up in prison when you have proof." I drove home like a man possessed. When I arrived, only the nanny was there, holding a fretful Leo. "Mr. Jacob," she said, her eyes wide. "Your wife, the police came. They put her in handcuffs. What on earth happened?" I took my son, holding him so tightly he squirmed, burying my face in his soft hair. "She broke the law, Maria, and the law is punishing her." My next call was to a lawyer. With Tessa in jail, Getting full custody of Leo would be straightforward. I would raise him right. I would make sure he never became as twisted as his mother. But the lawyer never even made it to the jail. That night, Tessa came home. She burst through the door, triumphant and furious. That stupid bitch thought she could keep me in a cell. She has another thing coming. Behind her were two large, imposing men. Before I could react, they strode past her and snatched Leo from his cradle. I lunged for my son, but they were too strong. I was thrown aside like a rag doll. I scrambled for my phone to call 911, but Tessa slapped it out of my hand. "Don't you dare call the police," she hissed. "Let them have him." A primal scream tore from my throat. I threw myself at the men, clawing, kicking, fighting with the strength of a cornered animal. "Are you insane?" I roared at Tessa, who was trying to pull me off them. "You're giving our son away? I will die before I let anyone take my son." Her face, streaked with tears and rage, was inches from mine. "He's not your son, you idiot," she screamed. "He's Marcus's. I was already pregnant when I slept with you." The world went silent. The fighting, the screaming, the crying, it all faded into a dull, distant roar. I just stared at her. She saw my shock and pressed her advantage, her voice now a pathetic, sniveling whine. "He's not yours, so what do you care? I made a deal. I give Eleanor the baby, and she drops the charges. It was the only way to stay out of prison." She pried my fingers from one of the men's jackets and shoved me away. "Go," she told them. "Get him out of here." "No," I whispered, stumbling after them. "I don't believe you. He's my son." "You want a paternity test?" she shot back. "Fine. Call Eleanor. She's already getting one done to prove to herself that he's Marcus's kid." I stumbled out the front door, but they were already gone. I fumbled for my phone and dialed Eleanor's number. "Mrs. Thorne, my son." "Mr. Jacob," she interrupted, her voice weary and filled with pity. "I have to admire your dedication. You've been playing the fool for a very long time." "No, you don't understand. She's lying. He's my son. He's my son." "I'm looking at her pregnancy records right now," she said, her voice devoid of emotion. "She was pregnant weeks before you were married. I suspected something was up back then, but when she married you, I thought Marcus had ended it. They were just using you." I refused to believe it. She hung up on me. I ran back into the house, desperate to grab my car keys and drive to their mansion to get my son back. Tessa was tearing the place apart, yanking drawers open, throwing papers everywhere. "What are you doing?" I demanded. "What does it look like?" she sneered. "Packing up. I'm selling the house." "You can't sell my house. This house was my down payment, my mortgage, my sweat and blood." "It's not your house," she said, her voice dripping with venom. "The deed is in my name. It's my asset. And since Marcus and his bitch wife cut me off, without a cent, I need the money. It's all your fault, you know. You and your stupid cameras. You gave her all the evidence she needed to ruin me." She paused, looking at me with a bizarre, almost pitying expression. "Don't worry. Once I sell the house and relaunch my career, I'll be back on top. And when I am, I'll get the boy back." I laughed, a raw, broken sound. "You're dreaming. You can't sell a house with an outstanding mortgage, especially one you never paid a dime for. No court in the world would grant it to you." I grabbed her by the arm and dragged her to the door, snatching the keys from her hand. "Get out," I said, my voice dangerously low. "Get out and never come back. My lawyer has filed for divorce. If you come near me or my property again, I will have you arrested." I drove to the Thorne mansion. Eleanor, seeing my stubborn grief, had their family doctor meet me. He handed me the results of a freshly run DNA test. "Wake up, Mr. Jacob," she said, not unkindly. "He is not your child. Are you really going to raise another man's child with that woman?" Her own face was a mask of pained resignation. "Believe me, I find this all disgusting. But I cannot have children of my own. My family needs an heir." I scanned the paper, the clinical letters and percentages confirming the ultimate betrayal. The tears I had held back for so long finally fell. I begged to see him one last time. "Hey." Nanny brought him out, sleeping peacefully in her arms. I kissed his warm, soft forehead, memorizing the feel of his skin, the scent of his hair. Then I watched them carry him away. As Eleanor walked me to the gate, Tessa arrived, creating a scene on the sidewalk. "Marcus, you coward," she screamed. "You get out here. How could you let them ban my accounts? After everything we were to each other." Eleanor just sighed. "If you don't leave, I'm calling the police." The two women screamed at each other while I walked away, the sound of their mutual hatred fading behind me. The next few days were a blur of numb activity. I threw out every single thing in the house that reminded me of Tessa. Clothes, photos, gifts. I piled it all into black trash bags and left it on the curb. Exhausted, I fell into bed and slept for nearly 24 hours. I was woken by a relentless pounding on the door. It was Tessa, her hair a matted mess, her face pale and drawn. "Jacob," she cried, a desperate, relieved smile spreading across her face. "You finally opened the door. Why did you throw all my things out? I told you to get lost. We're getting a divorce. I'm your wife. Where am I supposed to go? You can't just throw me out on the street. I've given you my entire salary for the last 2 years. You're not broke. That money is gone," she wailed, trying to push past me into the house. "Let me in. I'm so tired." I blocked her way. "After everything you've done, you still feel this entitled? You pushed me," she shrieked, her eyes wide with disbelief. "You promised you would always be good to me. You're breaking your promise." I slammed the door in her face and locked it. She pounded on it, her screams echoing in the hallway. "I'll never agree to a divorce. Never." I packed a suitcase and walked out. She was still there, slumped against the door. When she saw my luggage, her face fell. "Where are you going? You can't leave me." "The divorce hearing is next week," I said coldly. "This house will be legally mine. If you are anywhere near it after the judge's ruling, I will call the police." "Jacob, please," she begged, her hands twisting together. "Don't do this. Don't you love me anymore?" "Love you?" I laughed. "Go find one of your knights. They seem to appreciate your brand of loyalty." I walked away without looking back. After a few days away, I started to feel human again. Eleanor, in a surprising act of kindness, agreed to let me see the boy occasionally. I was ready to start a new life. I bought new clothes, got a haircut, and walked into my office on Monday morning feeling a flicker of hope. And there she was, waiting for me by the entrance. "Jacob," she ran toward me, her face lighting up. "I've been waiting for you. I was so worried you were sick. Let me see if you have a fever." She reached for my forehead. I slapped her hand away. "Are you deaf? I told you to stay away from me. The divorce will be final in a few days." "I won't sign," she sobbed. "I'll never sign. Please, Jacob, don't be angry anymore. I know I was wrong. I'll be a good wife now, I promise. I'll do whatever you want." "I won't do the live streams anymore," she pleaded as I walked away. "I'll do anything." I walked straight to the security desk and told them a strange woman was harassing me. They escorted her out, her cries following me into the building. When I left work that evening, she was still there, a ghost haunting the company entrance. She was determined to wear me down. I knew then that I couldn't have a new life until she was completely and finally gone from mine. A dark, cold plan began to form in my mind. I turned to face her. "You'll really do anything I say?" She nodded eagerly, like a starving dog. Yes, anything." "Okay," I said, pulling a folded document from my briefcase. "Here's the first thing. Sign this." It was the divorce agreement. Her face fell. "No, I don't want to divorce you." I feigned outrage. "See? You're a liar. You say you'll do anything, but the one thing I ask, you refuse. After everything you put me through, I want the satisfaction of divorcing you. That's all. Is that too much to ask?" "But I want us to be like we were before," she whimpered. A cruel, fake smile stretched my lips. "If you sign, we can start over. This is just a test, Tessa, to see if you're really telling the truth." "You promise?" she asked, her eyes wide and hopeful. "If I sign, you'll take me back." "When have I ever lied to you?" I asked. She signed it. We rushed to the county clerk's office just before it closed and filed the papers. Holding the divorce certificate in my hand felt like taking my first breath after nearly drowning. Tessa, seeing my mood lighten, linked her arm through mine. "Let's go home, husband. I'll cook for you. I've been learning new recipes." "You're still in the house? How did you get in?" "I had the property manager change the lock," she said proudly. "It's a new fingerprint one." My smile vanished. "You have 2 days to get out. The house is legally mine. It says so right here in the agreement we both just signed. You didn't contribute a single penny to it. Pack your things and leave." Her face crumpled. "But you promised. You promised if I signed, we'd be together." "A promise." I laughed, the sound full of contempt. "You think a liar, a cheat, and a woman who would sell her own child deserves promises? Get out of my life." I got in my car and drove away, leaving her standing on the sidewalk, a worthless piece of paper in her hand. That night, I executed the final part of my plan. I took the audio from her explicit video chats with Marcus, redacted his name to protect myself legally, and created a multi-slide presentation detailing her affair, the blackmail, and the lies. I posted it all online. Tessa had been a minor figure in the streaming world, but enough people knew her. I also sent the package to the small agency that was still giving her work. The explosion was immediate and spectacular. The internet did what it does best. She was torn to shreds. Her entire history was dredged up and put on display. For public ridicule, she became a viral villain overnight. Reporters and angry netizens camped outside my house, which they still believed was hers. She was trapped inside like a rat. I called the court and requested a formal, police-enforced eviction. When the officers forced her out, the mob was waiting. The moment she stepped outside, she was swarmed. The flashing cameras and screamed insults broke her. She fell to her knees, sobbing and begging them to leave her alone. But for the parasites who live on clicks and outrage, she was a goldmine. They followed her everywhere. No hotel would take her. No friend would answer her calls. For over a week, she lived under a bridge, her every miserable moment documented by a pack of vultures with camera phones. When the public's attention finally moved on, they left her there, a broken woman in a dirty city. And then, she found me again. She was waiting outside my office, gaunt and hollow-eyed. "Jacob," she said, her voice a raw whisper. "The videos online, was that you? Are they not true?" I countered. "Stay away from me, Tessa. Your miserable life is about to get much worse if you don't." Her eyes filled with a strange, genuine fear. "You shouldn't have done that, Jacob. Marcus is a powerful man. He values his reputation above everything. He will not let this go. Stop trying to manipulate me," I snarled, disgusted. "I'm sick of your games." "I'm telling you the truth," she cried, tears streaming down her dirty face. "Please, for your own safety, be careful. Maybe you should leave the city." I shoved past her. Her words were just another lie, another angle. That night, after being forced to work late, I walked out of my empty office building. She was still there, huddled in the shadows. I ignored her and drove away. In my rearview mirror, I saw her flag down a taxi and follow me. When I got out of my car in the underground garage, she was there. I finally snapped. I called security. "There's a crazy woman harassing me. Do not let her on the property ever again." As they dragged her away, she screamed, "Jacob, be careful. Please be careful." I told the guards she was mentally unstable and they should probably call the police. Finally, she was gone. I took the elevator to my floor, relieved. But as I stepped into the hallway, shadows detached themselves from the walls. Several large men surrounded me. I was beaten before I could even shout. "Why are you doing this?" I gasped from the floor. "You know why." One of them grunted, landing a kick to my ribs. "You like posting things online? This is what happens when you embarrass the wrong people." Just as I thought they were going to kill me, the stairwell door burst open. It was Tessa, followed by the two security guards I had just spoken to. They tackled the thugs and called the police. The head guard helped me up. "You're lucky, man. Your ex-wife came back, crying and begging us on her knees to come up and check on you. Said she had a bad feeling." I limped away from her. "Don't think this changes anything. This is your fault to begin with. The best thing you can do for me is disappear." She looked at the cuts on my face, her own expression a mask of guilt. "I know. It's all my fault. I'm so sorry, Jacob. I promise, I will pay back everything I owe you." She wiped her eyes and ran off into the night. I went inside, exhausted and aching, and collapsed into bed. I was woken the next day by a sound I thought I'd never hear again. A baby's cry. I opened my front door, and there, in a basket on my welcome mat, was Leo. Before I could even process what was happening, the police were at my door. At the station, the story finally unraveled. Tessa, driven by a desperate, twisted need for redemption, had gone to Marcus's house to get our son back. An argument had ensued. In the struggle, she had stabbed him with a fruit knife. He was dead. She was in custody, charged with murder. I held my son, telling the detective that he needed to be returned to the Thorne family. The officer shook his head. "Mr. Jacob, we've spoken to Mrs. Thorne. We've spoken to your ex-wife. The boy is yours." I stared at him, my heart seizing in a storm of hope and disbelief. "But the DNA test was fake," the detective said gently. "They faked the lab report to trick you. Tessa made a deal. She'd give up the baby if Eleanor dropped the blackmail charges and paid her off. She was afraid you'd try to fight Marcus and get hurt." He continued. "According to her statement, she couldn't live with what she'd done. She wanted to get the boy back for you. That's when the fight broke out. They let me see her, just for a moment. I held Leo in my arms as I looked at her through the reinforced glass. Her face lit up when she saw us. "He's home, Jacob," she whispered. her hand pressed against the glass. Are you happy? As long as you're happy, that's all that matters. Why, Tessa? I asked, my voice barely audible. Why lie that he wasn't mine? Tears streamed down her face. I was afraid. Afraid of what Marcus would do to you if you fought him for the baby. He saw Leo as his heir. I thought it was better for you to hate me than for you to get killed. I love you, Jacob. After I lost you, I realized you're the only one who ever truly cared for me. All the things I did, I'll spend my life in here paying for them. I didn't know what to say. There was nothing left to say. I just looked at her, then down at the beautiful, innocent child in my arms, my son. I gave her a small, sad smile, turned, and walked out of the police station. A week later, Leo and I left that city. We found a small town by the mountains, a place of quiet streets and clean air, and began our new, peaceful life.